I'm excited actually. This is gonna be a really good show. Hopefully sustain a nice show that people can get a lot of value from and get a lot of content and good information that can help them. When I say help them, I mean the grassroots goalkeepers, people that we serve at the grassroots level. We're not with any club teams, college teams, pro teams. We have to build everything from the ground up. Everything is work, everything is merit. That's what makes our journey so beautiful. With that journey comes lots of challenges, lots of ideas, lots of opinions, lots of things that most other environments probably don't have to deal with, but we do. How do I get the message out to some of my parents who are learning for the first time, who are going through this maze, who are constantly being bombarded with new trends and new social media and new this, new that, the shiny object syndrome? How do I help them? This is how I'll help you. Stay tuned. How you doing? This is Coach Gabe. Thanks for joining me today. Today I want to talk about a topic when it comes to colleges and choosing the correct institutional fit for you specifically as a goalkeeper. Okay, this topic is interesting. It has a lot of different complexities to it. A lot of myths, some realities, a lot of things that people think might be the thing. In terms of how to choose for an institution, right? We see a lot of TV, we see a lot of movies where, whether it's a basketball movie or a football movie, the coach comes, he sits down at your table with your family, they're holding hands, they're like, they want to recruit you. And there's all these ideas of, when you get there and like all these type of services are for you. And like, you're just being pampered and you're being, you're looked at in a certain way. But in the soccer environment, I think that rarely happens. So we have to really have a better understanding and impression of how, soccer recruitment is. And also at the same time, where we want to be recruited to if that's what we want to do and play college soccer. Playing college soccer is not playing professional soccer. College soccer is a school of higher learning. It's a place where you get a degree, and that is the priority. So if you're going to college with the idea that is the stepping stone to a professional life, just understand the priority is the academics when you go to any school, right? That's what you're there for specifically, and soccer is the vehicle that you are using in order to maintain that degree. So yeah, there is a high level of soccer in college, but you are getting your degree first and foremost. So please understand that when you go to college soccer, there's a reason why there's a lot of world-class clubs who have youth academies, because the standard of creating a youth developmental player is now being farmed within clubs. Okay, so college is a good place where high-level students go and high-level soccer players can go, yeah. But understand, this is not a pro environment yet. This is still a developmental process for you. So, your view and vision of this needs to maintain that expectation when you go to any institution. I don't care what it is. Maybe some colleges have connections. So that's a complete different topic for a complete different day, but that's something completely different. I want you to understand also, and here's another reality that we're not really talking about, right? You hear about these institutions, Division 1, Division 2, Division 3, and you already start to think about, Division 1, Division 2. So Division 3 is a lower level. Division 2 is, lower than Division 1. And that becomes part of our psychology, because now we think about this in very sectional ways, right? Division 1 being the highest. Understand this, right? If you're in a Division 1 club team, professional environment in Europe or in South America, that means that your team went from a lower level division, won that division, went to the next division, won that division, got all the way to the top, whether it's Division 1 or Serie A or however they designate Division 1 status. This doesn't happen here in the United States in college soccer, not even in the professional game. And we'll talk about that later. So when you're choosing an institution based on these divisional standings, you got to really think about that, because these aren't, meritocracy is not exactly everything when it comes to how we are ranking our division 1, 2, 3, etc. and junior college rankings. So, I've had this idea as well as a youth player, right? I need to play Division I soccer in order for me to play at a professional level after that. And it was a psychology. It was ingrained in me. But it couldn't be further from the truth. There's plenty of keepers. There's a few keepers that I know that play Division II soccer at smaller schools, and they've made careers because they've maintained their level and they got an experience out of their situation. And it does happen. So, just understand, when you have those expectations, have clear ones. Have an understanding of clear expectations. So we think about the institution, right? And we also, they reached out to me. I'm excited about this, right? They have this brand or this divisional ranking attached to them. This brand, I'm excited. Like they're interested in me, right? Great, fantastic. These are always good signs. These are always great signs. But let's think about this as well. Like, is this school do they have the type of identity of soccer that you have as well as a player? Because if you're a goalkeeper and you go to a team that maybe you are passing a lot and they no longer want to pass to you, or they have a particular type of identity of a goalkeeper that they have in mind, maybe that's something we should understand. At the same time, I challenge all my students and goalkeepers alike. Have you been to the college games? Have you seen and watched the way they play, the style in which they play? And they happen all throughout from September all the way through November and December. There's games happening, throughout the week, on the weekends, college games, right? So maybe a good opportunity for you to understand the style of certain games or certain teams is to go watch them play. I mean, that's the biggest opportunity you have, because you can see them perform live and how they react to losses, how they react to when they win. What is the culture of their environment? How a coach is interacting with their students or with their players and vice versa, right? Those are things that you need to also do. That's the work you need to create and build on in order for you to understand what's the best institutional fit for you. It's one thing, some students think they can do it all, right? Oh, I'm going to go to one school because they have a divisional ranking. They have the program I want. They have the social life I want. They have this, they have that. Oh my goodness, the beach is right next to the field. So then I can just get on my surfboard and you can't do it all the time. Not in college. And you learn that the hard way when you get there. All right. You learn that the hard way when you get there. You're going to have to be focused when you're there. And it's hard to be focused when you're in such a beautiful environment sometimes. And people, certain students, certain people go to certain institutions for certain reasons, right? So please try to be aware of why you are going to a specific institution, right? If it's more of a social thing, social life, then are you really a soccer player? Is that something that you're really trying to achieve? Which look, there's no negative or there's no bad in any of it, but there's soccer players, there's real goalkeepers out there who are really trying to make this experience in college catapult them to the next place. So if it's this brand or this environment, next to the mountain, and you can see the bird as it chirps, or are you going in there for soccer, right? Like I said, there's no negative, there's no bad in any of it, but I'm speaking right now to a specific college goalkeeper who's trying to get a specific result from this experience. So if this harms your idea, that's not my intention. My intention is to speak directly at somebody specific when they're trying to choose the right institutional fit for them, and also to attract that institution to them too, right? Coaches are looking for something specific and something different at the same time, right? There's students out there. If you're a goalkeeper and you have lower means, there's plenty of kids out there who their parents have saved a lot for them. And are you that much better, or are you in the middle with them? And maybe the institution needs to give you some money. I know that's everybody's dream, is to get that scholarship, right? But there's many environments, or there's many situations where there's kids out there who their parents have saved for them and done the right thing and correct thing. And they don't come with this big scholarship wanting package and they're getting through based on this situation. It doesn't happen all the time, but it happens. So I want you to be understanding as to this is the environment and competitive environment that is that you are coming to, right? So this whole idea that the coach is going to come to your house, sit in your living room, have dinner with you and shake your hand and beg you to join their team is a bit off, right? There's going to be coaches that are looking at you And there's going to be moments and windows of opportunity where you can sign if you're good enough and you have the GPA, right? But understand, like, certain teams have certain environments and certain cultures that they want to cultivate. And hopefully you can be a part of that, because they are going to take a risk. You're still young. They don't know what you're going to do in the next 4 to 5 years, some 6. They don't know if you're going to get injured. They don't know if you can, match the workload in terms of academics. They don't know all these things. So they have to take a risk. And so they're going to try to minimize their risk on the person they believe is the most capable of overcoming and staying with the program the longest. Another thing to think about in terms of choosing an institution, or at least thinking about an institution, are the academic demands and the financial demands. Are those something that you're comfortable with in terms of accomplishing? There's only a certain number of scholarships out there, and certain students are only getting partial ones. Some are getting none. Some are getting a little bit more than a partial scholarship, right? A little bit more. But it's very rare when you see somebody on a full ride. And this whole idea of a full ride is a big situation, because there's a full ride can mean a lot of things. It can mean loan, it can mean grant, it can mean you are doing a work study program. It can mean a lot of different things. I've worked at a couple different institutions at the university level. I don't highlight them in terms, just because I want to make sure I'm talking from my own understandings and from my own beliefs. However, I just want to make sure that people understand that these ideas are from a place of experience. So, when you're thinking about that, is the school a little bit more studious now, and the degree, is it a little bit more intense that you're trying to pursue, right? Are those demands going to be more of a demand than your actual soccer playing experience? Because when you get to college, nobody's checking to see if you did your homework. When you get to college, you have to find your class schedule that matches your soccer schedule. And obviously there's going to be counselors there to help you, but you're the one who's got to push buttons. You're the person who's got to go out there and do all these things. If you're lacking in your grades, nobody's going to hold your hand to make sure you go to tutoring. Nobody's going to make sure they hold your hand. They'll put you on academic probation. And if you don't get out of academic probation, you're out of the program. And these are real harsh realities of choosing an institution. You have to be ready for the academic workload, right? And when it comes to the financials, I really think about this a lot, because I was a student who went through college. I didn't know too many people. I did this by myself, and I tried to save every dollar I could. So I went in a different direction and tried to get as much help as I could in terms of the financials. So, and I'll talk about my journey at a separate time in terms of my college route. But I just want to talk that, leaving college with minimal debt, I think is a positive, right? But you can get carried away if you're carried away in the way you spend your money, if you don't minimize certain costs, living expenses, and things like this, right? I know we all want to have an experience in college, like this whole idea of like a college experience and finding ourselves, and I get that part, right? However, there are some people who have found themselves in soccer, and this is what they do on a daily basis. Okay, this is what they do. They found themselves. They're soccer players. They found themselves, right? So if you're going to go to college to go find yourself, and you want to have a professional career after this, maybe you should find yourself in soccer, or maybe you should find yourself in something separate from soccer, because there's people out there who this is what they found. And this is what they want to do. And college is soccer is a great vehicle for college if this carries you through, right? Because it carried me through. I hated going to class sometimes because, there were certain classes that I wasn't as good at as others. But I was like, I had to go to practice 3:00. So I got, in order for me to continue to go to practice, I got to get my school done. So it kept me engaged. I loved that portion of it, right? And the resources attached to being an athlete. There's a lot of them. So, choose your institution correctly. Go do a tour of the institution. Go to a camp. Go to a soccer camp. Communicate with the coach if you can. Go watch games. Okay. Make sure you're going to an institution that aligns with your core values. That you have the best idea possible as to, how people are getting along, how they're choosing players for specific positions, what type of identity they play with. Or do the academic demands, can you meet those demands? Do the financial demands meet your situation, right? We don't want to over leverage ourselves, because that's just silly. Like, why we would over leverage ourselves when we could go to an institution that can fit those needs? So those are things that you should think about. They're huge. This is a big conversation, and I could actually spend multiple videos doing this conversation on specific things. And I think I might at some point, if you're asking for it. So based on this conversation, I'll send it to my academy and I'll see what they're asking for. But I wish you all luck on this, because this is a big decision to make, right? And I know it's not an easy one, and I know there's a lot of information, especially for goalkeepers. It's difficult. There's only a few spots. Keepers, there's a scarcity of goalkeepers, but at the highest level, there's it starts to get dicey when it comes to institutions. I think I read somewhere where there's only like 200 spots available for goalkeepers in the whole country at the college, university level, junior college level, a year, right? And think about how many goalkeepers there are. Senior goalkeepers graduating. There's varsity junior college transfers. There's also transfers from the other institutions. Like, say you were at a Division I and you wanted to go to a Division II school, right? Because now you weren't getting as much playing time. That happens all the time. So now you're competing with a whole aura of goalkeepers. There's also now these internationals that are coming, and that's a big deal. And they've been coming for some time now. And it's like I said, it's a global game. Coaches are wanting the best product. So where they're going to go? They're going to go to a global standard of the sport, and that is in Europe, that is in South America, and other parts of the world as well. And they're going to try to find that in a young athlete looking to get their degree and help them win games. So understand that's who you're competing with. We're competing with a global standard of this. Anyways, I feel like I've said a lot. I feel like I said it fast. So if you need to rewind this, go ahead and rewind this and get some more information. There's so much to think about in terms of college soccer. And it's so competitive as well. And it's okay. It's okay. Everybody finds their way. Okay? My biggest advice to you is don't simply choose an institution based on divisional status. That isn't always about meritocracy in terms of winning leagues and then building up to the next league. It's good. There are positive things, and there are certain institutions that maintain a high standard no matter what division they are, right? So don't let that be the only factor, right? Because that to some people, to some goalkeepers, that is a brand name type of situation that allures them. Okay, the reality is you can still get a great experience playing at an institution that really wants you to be there. You can still continue to develop and get those games, those precious minutes in games that are extremely important at that young age that you are, from 18 to 22. That's still very young. The average goalkeeper in the Premier League is 27 years old, hovering around that age. So from 18 to 22, you're still very, very young, and you're still developing. Okay? So just make sure we're finding that institution that fits our academic demands, financial demands. Does the school's soccer identity match your identity and core value system? Are coaches wanting you there? Do they believe that you can come and impact the team? Even as a freshman, just being a quality team player, a quality freshman who can come in and help out, be a good quality practice training goalkeeper, because maybe they have somebody for as a senior, right? And you can take that role. Make sure those demands are understood, right? We don't have this fantasy. Let's minimize this fantasy of the coach coming and having dinner with your family and begging you to join them, because that's not always the case, and not in soccer at least. Okay, and so with all that being said, much love to you. Good luck on your journey with this. Coach Gabe, I'm out.